Big Bang Theory has brought heartwarming laughter, deep friendships, and heartwarming stories. But behind that great success are unforeseen losses. Some people quietly leave, others suddenly disappear. Take a moment to remember them and celebrate the legacy they left behind. Well, Stephen Hawking is him. At the age of 70, Stephen Hawking appeared as the brilliant physicist in the 2012 film Big Bang Theory. He brought the audience witty conversations with Sheldon Cooper, sometimes via video call, sometimes in person, always revolving around scientific topics that made viewers laugh and admire. However, behind those brief but unforgettable appearances was a man who spent his life fighting a serious illness. Stephen William Hawking, born on January 8, 1942 in Oxford, England, was a promising doctoral student when he was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, at the age of 21. Doctors gave him only 2 years to live, but he defied all odds and fought for 55 years. Over time, he lost the ability to walk, became confined to a wheelchair, and after a tracheotomy in 1985, became completely dependent on a speech-generating device. His health continued to decline, with recurring bouts of pneumonia. But in the shadow of his illness, Hawking devoted himself to science, publishing more than a dozen books, including A Brief History of Time, which sold more than 10 million copies and became a cultural phenomenon. On March 14, 2018, Stephen Hawking died at the age of 76, leaving behind an estimated net worth of $20 million. A priceless intellectual legacy. The image of his wheelchair combined with his synthesized voice has become an enduring symbol, a reminder of a great mind who gazed upon the universe while physically imprisoned and still managed to smile. Ann Susi as Debbie Wolowitz. At 55, Ann Susi became the legendary voice of Debbie Wolowitz on The Big Bang Theory in 2007. Throughout the 40 or so episodes, she never appeared on screen for a full season, but with her high-pitched, resonant voice and hilariously over-the-top lines, she made the character an unforgettable figure in the hearts of fans. But just when many were hoping to see her in real life, tragedy struck. Ann Susi was born on February 2nd, 1952 in Brooklyn, New York. After her marriage broke up, she chose to live alone, quietly pursuing her passion for acting. Those years were certainly not easy. She struggled to find roles, taking on a variety of projects from television to stage, often playing small but colorful characters. However, her humor and charm made her memorable on shows like Seinfeld and Cheers. Her longtime smoking habit, ingrained in the busy life of an actress, became her silent enemy, leading to her being diagnosed with terminal lung cancer just months before her death. Susi kept the news to herself, continuing to do voiceovers until the very end, as if not wanting the audience or her colleagues to see her weaken. On November 11, 2014, Ann Susi passed away at the age of 62, with an estimated fortune of $500,000. Her death shocked both the cast and fans. In tribute, the writers had Debbie Wolowitz's character die in season 8, creating a heartbreaking moment for both Howard and the audience. The image of the empty dining table and the voice forever silent remains a memorable one for viewers. George Robert Newhart was born on September 5, 1929, in Oak Park, Illinois, USA. He moved from an accountant to comedy, launching a legendary career that lasted more than half a century with The Bob Newhart Show and Newhart. His personal life has long been considered the model of Hollywood happiness, with a 60-year marriage to Virginia Ginny Quinn and the raising of 4 children. But in 2023, tragedy struck when Ginny died of terminal liver cancer, leaving a deep void in his heart. Friends said Newhart sank into extreme loneliness, yet he managed to maintain his signature calm demeanor. In 2018, he fell down the stairs and broke his leg, but recovered with great determination. He quit smoking in 1985 after a heart attack, but maintained his love of golf and stand-up comedy. In the early years of his career, he admitted to being a mild alcoholic, a consequence of the pressures of the stage, but later gave it up to preserve his career. On July 18, 2024, Bob Newhart died at his home in Los Angeles at the age of 94, after a series of short-term age-related illnesses, including heart failure and respiratory problems. He left behind an estimated net worth of $65 million and a vast artistic legacy spanning both television and film. Carrie Fisher as herself. Carrie Fisher appeared in The Big Bang Theory in 2014 at the age of 58, playing herself in a brief but humorous scene when James Earl Jones and Sheldon prank her with a ding-dong joke. Despite her brief screen time, Fisher's trademark wit and sharp satire made the moment unforgettable. However, behind her light-hearted appearance was a dark life of private pain, carefully hidden under the glare of fame. Carrie Frances Fisher was born on October 21, 1956, in Beverly Hills, California, into a prestigious but troubled showbiz family. Her mother is film legend Debbie Reynolds. Her father is singer Eddie Fisher. From a young age, she endured the crushing pressure of fame, living as the daughter of legends and a woman struggling to define herself. In 1980, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a mental illness that left her struggling with depression and severe mood swings. To escape the emptiness, she turned to drugs, starting to use cocaine at age 21 while filming Star Wars, and later abusing prescription drugs. In 1985, she survived a suicide attempt by overdose. Her personal struggles were further complicated by her deep but conflicted relationship with her mother, a bond so intense that it tragically culminated in Debbie Reynolds' death just a day after her daughter, reportedly from grief. On December 27, 2016, Carrie Fisher died at the age of 60, 4 days after suffering a heart attack during a flight from London to Los Angeles. Toxicology reports revealed traces of multiple drugs and alcohol in her system, a reminder of a life spent battling her demons. She leaves behind an estimated net worth of $25 million and an irreplaceable cultural legacy. Princess Leia is a proud, indomitable pop culture icon, and the story of a woman brave enough to speak the truth about the darkness in her life, inspiring millions. Stan Lee is also himself. At the age of 87, Stan Lee appeared on The Big Bang Theory in 2010, playing himself in a funny scene where Sheldon bursts into his house, only to be promptly kicked out. The brief moment not only delighted fans, but also reminded them of the image of Mr. Marvel with his mischievous smile, always popping up unexpectedly to bring joy. But behind the glamour were tragic final years and silent battles that even Stan Lee could not escape. Stanley Martin Lieber was born on December 28, 1922 in New York City and grew up in a poor immigrant family during the Great Depression. His parents often argued about money, and he had to do odd jobs from a young age to help support the family. His path to comics began with an $8 a week assistant job at a relative's company, which later became Marvel Comics. He went on to create a host of iconic superheroes like Spider-Man, the Hulk, and the X-Men. Ironically, Lee never owned his characters. As he grew older, especially after the death of his wife of 69 years, Joni, in 2017, Stan Lee became increasingly frail. He was caught in a spiral of lawsuits and accusations of financial exploitation by his own manager and daughter. Shocking stories emerged in 2018, including the bizarre claim that his blood was stolen to be put into comics sold to fans. These incidents not only drained him financially, but also left him lonely and mentally stressed in his later years. On November 12, 2018, Stan Lee died in Los Angeles of pneumonia and congestive heart failure at the age of 95. His net worth is estimated at $50 million, mainly from his Marvel legacy, MCU cameos, and book sales. The image of the silver-haired man with a mischievous smile and sparkling eyes behind glasses, remains an immortal icon in the superhero world. Johnny Galecki as Leonard Hofstadter. Johnny Galecki played Leonard Hofstadter, a brilliant but socially awkward experimental physicist, in the 2007 film The Big Bang Theory, when he was just 32 years old. He quickly became part of the duo alongside Sheldon Cooper. Galecki's humor, emotional depth, and subtle acting made Leonard one of the show's most beloved characters throughout its 12 seasons. Born on April 30, 1975 in Brie, Belgium, Johnny Galecki grew up in an American family that moved to Chicago when he was just a few years old. His artistic path has not been smooth, especially when his personal life is constantly under scrutiny. At the height of the Big Bang Theory's success, Galecki constantly faced rumors about his sexual orientation. He chose to stay silent, letting his work speak for itself, until he was asked directly on The View in 2010. Instead of reacting negatively, he calmly replied, "Why would I defend myself over something that's not offensive?" He had previously dated co-star Sarah Gilbert and then Kaylee Cuoco. Both relationships ended amicably, developing into long-term friendships. But real tragedy struck in 2017 when his California home burned down, destroying all of his possessions. After surviving the incident, Galecki temporarily stepped away from the spotlight, finding peace on his own ranch, where he nurtured his passion for nature. In 2025, at age 50, Johnny Galecki has an estimated net worth of $100 million. He still appears in occasional film projects, but spends most of his time tending to his ranch and enjoying a peaceful life, a stark contrast to the awkward Leonard audiences once knew. Jim Parsons as Sheldon Cooper. Jim Parsons took on the role of Sheldon Cooper, a quirky but irresistibly charming theoretical physicist, on The Big Bang Theory in 2007, when he was just 34 years old. His witty one-liners and ability to portray a tough but lovable character have made Parsons an icon of modern sitcoms. Born on March 24, 1973 in Houston, Texas, Jim Parsons grew up in a middle-class family in the American South. His childhood was uneventful, shaped by his introverted nature and early passion for science. However, life challenged Parsons at the height of his career. A demanding filming schedule left him exhausted, with less and less time for his family and partner Todd Spiewak. The most heartbreaking moment was when his beloved family member, a beloved dog, passed away while he was busy with work projects. Taking it for a final walk before a commercial shoot, seeing its tired eyes and feeling the pain of helplessness became a turning point that completely changed the way Parsons viewed life and his career. In 2025, at age 52, Jim Parsons had an estimated net worth of $160 million, mainly from The Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon. After fully recovering from COVID-19 in 2020, he continued to work in film, theater, and television. Despite leaving Sheldon Cooper, Parsons is still exploring new roles, proving that his artistic journey still has many secrets to reveal. Brian Turk as Tiny. Brian Turk was 39 years old when he appeared on The Big Bang Theory in 2009, Season 3. He played Tiny, a giant from the comics, giving the audience a moment that was both funny and memorable. Despite his small role, Turk's presence exuded the same casual charm he has shown in his many television and film appearances. Born on May 29, 1970, in Colorado, Brian Turk had a steady career with memorable supporting roles in Carnival, 2.5 Men, Criminal Minds, and American Pie 2. However, his life took a tragic turn in 2018 when he was diagnosed with brain cancer. Initially, Turk remained optimistic, continuing his treatment and spending time with his family, but the disease quickly progressed to its terminal stage. During his year-long battle with the disease, the greatest pain he endured was not only physical, but also mental pain from being separated from his wife and 8-year-old son, a fact that made his final months even more heartbreaking. On September 13, 2019, Brian Turk passed away at the age of 49, leaving behind an estimated net worth of $500,000. The image of a tall, warm man with his close but honest roles will forever be imprinted in the memories of the audience and those who loved him. James Earl Jones as himself, James Earl Jones joined Big Bang Theory at the age of 83 in Season 7 of 2014, appearing as himself in a series of pranks alongside Sheldon that made the audience laugh. With his deep voice, commanding demeanor, and natural sense of humor, Jones made his brief appearance a memorable one. But behind that legendary voice was a life filled with loss and harsh challenges from an early age. James Earl Jones was born on January 17, 1931, in Arcaboutla, Mississippi, to a broken family when his parents left, leaving him to be raised by his grandmother. Growing up under the strict care of his grandmother and lacking the love of his parents, Jones also faced a harsh challenge, a severe stutter that kept him mostly silent throughout his high school years. But in that darkness, he found the strength to change his fate. Through persistent practice and finding a way to escape the theater, Jones gradually overcame his stutter, turning his biggest weakness into one of his most powerful tools in his career. His deep, clear, and powerful voice helped him shine on Broadway before conquering the screen with iconic roles like Darth Vader in Star Wars and Mufasa in The Lion King. On September 9, 2024, James Earl Jones passed away at the age of 93 due to complications from diabetes. He left behind an estimated net worth of $40 million, a massive artistic legacy, and an immortal voice. His image will live forever in the memories of millions. Jessica Walter as Mrs. Latham. At 69, Jessica Walter appeared on The Big Bang Theory in 2011. She played Mrs. Latham, a wealthy, intelligent, and equally charming benefactor who puts Leonard in a funny and awkward situation. Although she only appeared briefly, it was enough to give the audience a taste of Jessica Walter's signature, subtle, and distinctive acting style. Jessica Walter, born January 31, 1941 in Brooklyn, New York, grew up in an artistic family. Her father was a world-renowned violinist, and her mother was a Russian immigrant. She began acting lessons at a young age and quickly showed her natural talent. Behind the glamour of stage and screen, however, Walter's personal life was anything but peaceful. Her first marriage to theater director Ross Bowman lasted from 1966 to 1978, before ending in divorce. Years later, she found new happiness with actor Ron Leibman, and the two were together for 36 years, until his death in 2019. However, the joy of family life was overshadowed by the pain of her only daughter's battle with drug addiction, a wound that was difficult to heal for the mother. Although she rarely shared this pain publicly, those close to her knew it was one of the deepest shadows of her life, in stark contrast to the strong, witty, and sharp image she portrayed on screen. On March 24, 2021, Jessica Walter passed away in her sleep at the age of 80. She left behind an estimated net worth of $4 million, largely thanks to the success of Arrested Development and other television projects. The image of a woman with sharp eyes, a mischievous smile, and a dynamic, multi-dimensional acting style will forever be an unforgettable memory for fans. William West Anderson, born September 19, 1928, in Walla Walla, Washington, became a global icon after playing Batman in the hit 1960s television series. However, the role's huge success turned out to be a double-edged sword, framing him and making it nearly impossible for him to escape the shadow of the Dark Knight. With the door to serious roles closing, West fell into unemployment, depression, and alcoholism in the 1970s. Still, he managed to reinvent himself through comedic roles, appearances at comic book conventions, and most notably, a successful voice acting career, leaving his mark on works like Family Guy and the Batman animated projects. Behind the sophisticated exterior was a playboy, known for his hedonistic lifestyle in the tumultuous 1960s. A colorful personal life that former co-star Burt Ward revealed in incredible anecdotes. On June 9, 2017, Adam West died at the age of 88 from leukemia, just months after being diagnosed. He left behind an estimated net worth of $8 million, largely from his Batman films, convention appearances, and voiceover work. The image of the hero in the Batsuit, Adam West's gentle smile, and his warm, deep voice will live forever in the memories of many generations. Leonard Nimoy as Spock. At 81 years old, Leonard Nimoy appeared on The Big Bang Theory in 2012, voicing the character Spock in Sheldon's dream. That alone was enough to captivate Star Trek fans around the world. This unexpected appearance became a bridge between two generations, sitcom and science fiction, and evoked the iconic image that had been associated with Nimoy for more than half a century. Leonard Simon Nimoy, born March 26, 1931, in Boston, Massachusetts, faced a health tragedy that lasted nearly half his life, which was a long-term addiction to cigarettes. He started smoking at a young age, seeing it as a way to relieve stress from filming days and work pressures. For 30 years, cigarettes were his constant companion, from behind the scenes of his films to the quiet moments of his daily life. It wasn't until 1985 that Nimoy finally decided to quit, but by then, the damage to his lungs had already become irreversible. Years later, this latent damage developed into chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, which made his breathing increasingly short and forced him to limit his artistic activities. It was the bitter price Nimoy paid for a seemingly harmless habit from his youth. On February 27, 2015, Leonard Nimoy died at the age of 83, leaving behind an estimated net worth of $45 million, largely from his Star Trek legacy and other artistic ventures. The image of a hand raised in the Vulcan salute, accompanied by the words, "Live long and prosper," transcended the screen, becoming Nimoy's eternal message to the world.